Hey everybody, Argent here. So a couple people have asked to see my decks. So I have, I think, 4 or 5 of them from back in the day. If I haven't put it up already, I've done a video on my main deck, which is my mono black control deck. So this was actually on the last deck I ever built. And this is my blue-green mana ramp. So I'm just going to show you how this works, because this one's a lot of fun. I actually copied this one from Duels of the Planeswalkers. So let's see what the initial hand is. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. More or less a perfect hand for this deck. So because it's this deck, I'm going to choose to play. So when you choose to play, you don't get to draw a card. You just play first. So I play a forest. Other person goes. I draw a card. It's a Coiling Oracle. I play a second forest. I tap them both. I play Explore. Now what Explore does is you may play an additional land this turn and draw a card. So that goes into my graveyard. I draw another forest, and I'll play a island. Okay, so other person goes. Maybe they swing at me for 1, or they play a second land. Who cares? Okay, so my turn again. So I get a island. I'll play it, and then I'll play. Let's see, who should I play next? I'll play Kadama's Reach next. Actually, I won't play Kadama's Reach next. I have a better idea. So I'll tap 2. I'll play Coiling Oracle. So what Coiling Oracle does is I reveal a card, and if the top card of my library is a land, then I put it into play. Otherwise, I put it into my hand. So that's obviously not a land, but I get to draw a card. So then I'll tap 2 and I'll play Sakura Tribe Elder, and the other person goes. They're probably gonna, because this is turn 3, swing at me. So what I do is I block with Sakura Tribe Elder and I'll sack him. So what Sakura Tribe Elder does is when you sacrifice him, you get to search your library for a land card and put it into play tapped. Let me just do that. So there we go, another land. So I'll untap, and then I'll draw, and I get Compulsive Research. Let's see here. So next I'll play a forest, of course. And I will tap 3 to play Kadama's Reach. So this allows me to search my deck for 2 land cards, put 1 into play tapped, and put 1 into my hand. So I'll put an island into play tapped and put a forest into my hand. So then I'll tap 3 for Compulsive Research. And I get to draw 3 cards. And if I discard a land, then I get to keep them. Okay, so there we go. That's the end of my turn. Other person probably attacks me, so I'll take that. Maybe I've taken like 4 or 5 damage at this point. It's still fairly early game given how fast I'm mana ramping. So then I will untap, draw a card. It's a Steel Hellkite. I will put another forest into play, so I now have 8 mana. I'll tap 7 of it to put Pelaka Worm into play. So when Pelaka Worm enters the battlefield, I gain 7 life, and when he goes into the graveyard, I draw a card. So unless my opponent's playing a rush deck, it's going to be hard to attack me at this point in time, because that's a pretty beefy creature. So I gain 7 life, so that helps to counter the early game beating I probably take, as this deck is kind of slow. And if they shoot it, I get to draw another card. So they get to go. They probably attack me. Maybe I take a damage or 2. I block. And it's my turn again. So I'll draw. I draw another forest. So I'm going to tap 3 to play another Kadama's Reach. Or no, I'm going to play Cultivate. So that lets me search my deck for 2 more lands. And while I'm at it, I'll also play Changeling Colossus. Okay, let me just pause. So Changeling Colossus's special effect is tap 4, double his stats, and he gains trample until end of turn. So the other person goes, maybe they swing at me, maybe I'm down to like 12, who gives a fuck. My turn again, I draw Rite of Replication. Oh, you'll see in a second. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I tap 9 to play Rite of Replication with the kicker. So what Rite of Replication does is for 4 mana, you copy target creature. If you pay the kicker, you put 5 copies of the creature into play. So I will copy Peleka Worm. So because I gain 7 life for each one I put into play, I gain 35 life, and I have 5 7/7s on the battlefield. So then his turn ends, and then I get to go again. And I get an Explorer, so I'll play the Explorer. Nothing really important, but yeah, so then I can just swing and kill them. As far as Changeling Colossus goes, let me just count how much mana I have. So I have enough to pump him 3 times, so I can make his... Wait a minute, so that's 8, 16. So I can make him a 32/32 with trample, and I have all my Peleka worms. And because this deck is pretty optimized, this isn't that unusual a game. So let me just reshuffle, and I'll show you some other stuff I have in this deck. Okay, so this isn't the best starting hand, but let's just go with it. So I play a forest, opponent's turn, I draw a card. I play another land. I throw out Sakura Tribe Elder. Opponent goes. They probably attack me, so I'll block. Let's see, where's my next land? Okay, I'll just put that into my hand. And let me just shuffle my deck. Okay, so it's my turn. I get to untap, and I get to draw another card. So, and I played a land, so I'll tap, and I'll play Cultivate, so I get to search my deck for 2 more lands. I'll just take whatever the top 2 are, so I don't have to keep shuffling. So put 1 into play, and put, let's see, where's a forest? And I'll put a forest into my hand. So there we go. That turn is now over. So, okay, so that's done. So opponent goes, let's say they swing at me for 4, so I'm at 16, I don't really give a shit. Draw a card, and I'll play a forest. So then I'll tap 6, and I'll play one of the best cards in my deck, Vigor. Now, Vigor is super mean. Basically, Vigor's ability is, if damage would be dealt to any creature other than Vigor, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each damage prevented that way. So, basically, other creatures can't take damage. So the other person goes, so this is only like turn 4, so they probably don't have anything bigger than Vigor. So they probably won't attack me on like turn 4. Also, I got to go first, so I'm going to play another land. So I have 2 options here. I can either play these 2 cards, or I can play Panglacial Worm. So I think what I'm going to do at the moment is I'll tap 4, and I'll play Skyshroud Claim. So Skyshroud Claim lets me search my deck for 2 forests and put them into play. Note it says put them into play, not put them into play tapped. So there we go, and I have some land left over. Oh, I get to play a land this turn too. Okay, so I'll tap 3 more for another Kodama's Reach. So I get to look for another 2 lands. Actually, you know what? I won't play Kodama's Reach, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm just going to take that move back. I end my turn. They swing at me. I probably will just take it at this point in time. So I get hit for, I don't know, so maybe I'm down to like 12 at this point in time. It doesn't really matter if I take damage. And you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so let's see here. Sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed. Okay, so I untap. I play my land for the turn. Sorry, there's so many lands with this deck. Let me just quickly count the number of mana that I have, the amount of mana I have. So I have 5 forests, and 5 of these. So I'm going to tap 10. So I play Kadama's Reach, so I get to look through my deck for 2 lands, put one in my hand and one into play. And I'm going to activate the ability of my other Panglacial Worms. So Panglacial Worm's ability is you may play him as if he was in your hand if you're searching your library. So I get to look through for Panglacial Worm and put him into play. And because of Vigor, he can't, in effect, take damage. So my opponent goes, he probably can't do anything because I have a 9/5 that's immune to damage. So on tap, I draw an Explore. I'll just play Explore because I can. Next card is a Forest. I get to put the Forest into play immediately. And I'll tap the remainder of my mana. Or I guess remainder of my mana. And I will play Sakura Tribe Elder and sack him so I get a land, and I'll play another Panglacial Worm. Never mind, I only had 2 in my deck and the other one was in my hand. So I'll play my other Panglacial Worm. So then I'll probably swing at them with this big thing. So they can either take 9 to the face, which is pretty much half their health, or they can block, and then he gets stronger. So they probably can't do anything, so it's my turn. So I'm going to play a Coiling Oracle, so that allows me to look at the top part of my deck. And if it's a land, I can put it into play right away. Now, part of why he's so good is even if I don't need a land, that means next turn I won't draw that. I'll draw something more useful, like another Forest and another Forest. But it doesn't really matter at this point because I can swing with 2 Panglacial Worms, and there's probably nothing they can do at this point to stop 2 9/5s that have Vigor backing. Now, the downfall of this deck is largely if they have a mono black control deck, because they can just shoot all my creatures. But even if they have like a blue control deck, there's so many big creatures and there's so much mana ramp, it's not efficient to just counter everything. Let me show you some other good cards I have in this deck. Well, I haven't looked at this in a while. I initially had some Eldrazi in here, which are kind of like Cthulhu-like abominations. But I only had the crappy ones because the good ones cost more than the rest of the deck put together. Because most of these are really cheap creatures. The worms are only, I think, uncommon. And all the mana ramp stuff is like a couple pennies each. So this is Molimo Maro Sorcerer. So his power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. And he has trample. So that's good. So in this deck, that would just be massive. So another nice thing is, as I'm getting rid of all the mana from my deck is getting smaller. So once I've gotten like 15 mana on the field, that's a quarter of my deck gone. So that means I'm much more likely to draw something like this, or something that's going to help me out. So it's kind of an all or nothing deck to a certain extent. If you can survive 4 or 5 turns, then you will probably win. If you can't, or you don't draw any of the smaller creatures to chump block, then you're basically screwed. Still, it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty damn reliable. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll talk to you guys later.